Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Smith. It's Friday, Paraskevia. Today we're looking at multiplication in Georgian, gamrავლeba. Here, just like English, we could say either 7 multiplied by 7 is 49, or 7 times 7, if we think of our times table, equals 49 too. Both methods are available to us in Georgian, so let's see how it's done. If you're ready, let's go. Let's begin with my Instagram poster, and at the top, Gamrავლება. Gamrავლება is the concept of multiplying in arithmetic. Indeed, it's also extended into the idea of demographics in terms of the reproduction as well. And so we're going to see it in different spheres. Another thing as well is that mravali is many. And the word many, we probably know better as bevri, no? So me, bevri, megobari, maqavs. I have a lot of friends. But the mravali kind of goes a little bit more into a formal variant of many. So many teachers believe, you can see where we're sort of changing the register there. So mravali, mas'avlebeli, rather than bevri mas'avlebeli, although both are available to us, mravali, it just adds that higher sense of register. Indeed, another example could be mravali tzlistzin, many years ago, rather than bevri tzlistzin, which says the same, but not in the same way. Okay, so we can see this title here giving us a few more words that are useful in daily Georgian. And here we've got actually 7 times 7 equals 49. And here the key would be the word jer. So shvidi, of course, is number 7. Shvid jer here. Shvid jer, shvidi, udris, ormots das kras. Shvid jer, 7 times. Shvidi, 7. Udris, ormots das kras. Here, jer is going to give us the idea of times, 7 times 7. But of course, we could also use 7 multiplied by 7, which is another word, which is gamravlebuli, and then we'd have that number substituted in the same way as the other 2 videos that we've seen before. So let's do some examples and get the ball rolling. Slide 1 takes me right back to that moment in primary school where I was very jealous of people that knew their 7 times table. Itzi shvidis gamravlebis tabula shen. Itzi shvidis gamravlebis tabula. Here the number shvidi takes the genitive ending because actually in total it is the multiplication table of 7. Do you know it? And that's how the question is posed here using our genitive. The interesting thing, of course, is that tabula has a synonym which is tshrili, which actually refers to that table often that's kind of a grid. So you got the numbers going up, the numbers going across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, and you triangulate diagonally the right outcome. This, of course, is used less in general. We're talking about primary school education. We often don't really go higher than numbers of 10. So samis gamravlebis tabula, otchis gamravlebis tabula, always with the genitive. Manitsi shvidis gamravlebis tabula. He knows his 7 times table. He should be proud. So let's do the first one. The operative word here is jer, not shvidi. Again, we're using the pudze, the root. Shvid jer erti aris shvidi. Shvid jer erti aris shvidi. Plain and simple. Shvid jer erti shvidia, also in a shorter form. You may already have seen the word jer in the expression sometimes. Jer actually appears in quite a few different ways. But here, of course, we want to emphasize when it's used as a substitute for the English word time. And so zog jer is sometimes. You don't always need to use zog jer. You could also use khandachan from time to time and drodadro, which is sometimes. They all really function the same. Slide 2, and we're staying with shvidis gamravlebis tabula with 7 times 2. So shvid jer ori aris totkhmeti. or 7 ori 14 using aris for a simplified answer. The second one is taken from the introduction of today's class, so this is what we saw at the beginning. So 7 udris ormots das gras. Here, udris needs a dative outcome, and so we're adding that s. 7 udris ormots das gras. Now, just remember that we just previously looked at dro da dro and chan da chan. So in Georgian, we can use da and to unite these numbers. So we got or, 2 mots, 2 20s, da tzchra. So it's 2 20s and a 9. That's how the answer is constructed in the dative. So 7 udris ormots da tzchras. Now, we've already looked at tolia as a way to say the equal of, this other form of expressing it. So again, we're going to do 7 odchi, tolia, otstarvis. Now, rva ends in a vowel, and in the genitive, it disappears. So, tolia, otstarvis. 7 odchi tolia otstarvis. Slide 3 no longer uses jer, which I think is the easiest way. We're raising the difficulty now where the verbal adjective gamravlebuli multiplied by requires a dative ending. Our multiplier here takes ze ending. So ati gamravlebuli orze tolia otsis. Orze, 10 multiplied by 2 equals 20. In the second case, as we know that the verb in Georgian, if we contain the subject and the object, then gavam ravlot, you and I, gavam ravlot, ati gavam ravlot, shvidze aris samotsta ati. Shvidze, right, by 7. So we are going to multiply 10 by 7, and the answer is samotsta ati. Ati gavam ravlot shvidze samotsta atia. Here, sam, ots, 3 times 20, 60, da, ati, 70. Of course, you got 2 choices. Aris samotsta ati or samotsta atia. If you use the second choice, you can put this at the end. The first one represents the first structure, but using a dative construction. So, ati, gamravlebuli atze udris as. Ati, gamravlebuli atze udris as. Here, like I said in last week's video, sometimes the dative construction, if you're going to use gamravlebuli, a verbal adjective, for me, is the least complicated of this complicated form. But of course, if you just wanted to do it simply, you just use atjer. Our final slide is just for reference, because of course, when Georgian children learn arithmetic, they're in a group. They do it together with their teacher, and they do it to the number. So if we look back at our adding class, then it could have been expressed, if we were really doing it together and we were really Georgian kids in a classroom, sams mimat'ot sami udris ex, for the real feel, which I think, frankly, we just don't need. But because this is how Georgians strictly learn together arithmetic in a classroom, and where a parent may indeed teach a child or so on, then these structures aren't so unfamiliar. We learned sams mimat'eba sami udris ex. 3 added to 3 equals 6, just because it's easier. The next one is from last week's class, subtracted from. Okay, this giving us the real feel of doing it together. So, ats gamok'leba odchi udris ex. We learned ats gamok'lebuli odchi udris ex. 4 subtracted from 10 equals 6. That's what we learned. So again, just the living equivalent, I suppose. And then the final example, of course, from today's class, just to end. Ati gamravlot shvidze aris samosta ati. We've learned Ati gamravlebuli shvidze aris samosta ati. So it is there just for reference. I suppose if you're watching a movie and they're filming a scene where the children are learning the mathematics, then at least your ear can tune in to what's being said. But like I said, this actually comes directly from my friends saying that it's necessary and important to know, but perhaps does extend into a much more complex understanding of verb form and structure that we've studied so far. That's the last slide of today. Thank you very much. Next week, logically, we're going to be looking at gaq'opa. Gaq'opa is division. So have a nice weekend and I'll see you then. Bye.